I'm going to teach you how you can manifest anything you want into your life within the umbrella of a simulated universe. Now, I know that's quite a big claim, but at the same time, I'm going to give you some tough love because there are two sides to the coin when it comes to manifesting, and most people only concentrate on one side, which is the fun part, and miss out the practical part. Now, I want to give you an illustration, and it's if you're in the States, I suppose you would call this a bit of a junior high humor example, and I hope nobody gets offended by it, and it's an extreme case, but I think it illustrates the point very well. And that is, let's say you want to manifest some kind of partnership, or maybe you just simply want a date. Okay, you're feeling a bit lonely, you want a date. Let's say you're a woman, you want a date for the evening. You've got two options. You can sit in a room, cross-legged, light some joss sticks, do some chanting, and put out some positive thoughts and hope that somebody's going to suddenly knock on your door, or you're going to go to the supermarket and bump into somebody and they're going to ask you out for the evening. Or you could go to a bar on a naval port where a ship's just come in, where the sailors have been away for 3 months. So can you see which one is more likely to give you results? So again, that's an extreme example, but as I say, there's two sides to the coin. There is the more esoterical kind of side, which is the more fun bit, and then there is the practical bit. And in my mind, the answer to getting quick results and getting the results that you want is by combining the two together. So the good news is the practical part is actually not that difficult. It's not hard work. It's all about creating the right conditions that is going to attract what you want into your life. So for an example, if you want to grow something in your garden or in a pot, let's take a vegetable of some sort. So it could be a tomato or tomato. You don't actually make the seed grow. You don't put the seed in the soil and then try and put out the right vibration and positive thoughts, grow, I want you to be big. What you do instead is you do a bit of research, you find out what's the right type of soil. So I don't think tomatoes like clay, they like a nice, decent kind of finer soil. They want the seed to stay wet, they don't want it to dry out, otherwise it will die. And of course they want plenty sunlight. By you putting the seed in the right soil, in the right place, keeping it watered, 99% of the time tomatoes will grow. They're pretty easy to grow. Okay, and that's exactly the same as manifesting. So first of all, let's talk about the fun part. So you need to be clear on what it is that you want, first of all. So let's say you want to manifest money into your life. You want to generate some kind of revenue. Okay. Again, you can sit there and you can just think, oh, I want an envelope to drop through the door and it's got a check in there for $100 or what have you, which is what you'll hear about and read about if you watch the movie The Secret, for example. Okay, and a lot of people tried that, and lo and behold, nothing really happened. Okay, but if you think, well, okay, how could I add value to somebody else's life and then get paid for it, get compensated for it? I'm going to move a bit because there's lots of people walking around, lots of dogs barking and things like that. So for example, let's say maybe there is, maybe you like crafting, there's something that you're good at making, maybe you're artistic. You could think about what you want to create and you could you could create it and then you could sell it on Etsy, or maybe you're good at making kind of templates and things, maybe like invitation for a wedding or something like that. So you can now make digital products. You can simply create a nice template. I saw one time, and it was for people that throwing baby shower parties and stuff, and they just created like a list of things that you need to do and games to play and stuff like that, and they just created a document, turned it into a PDF, put it on Etsy, and it's almost like 100% profit. So can you see the difference between that and just imagining that a check is going to fall through the post? Now, when it comes to manifesting, when we're talking in a sort of a more esoterical kind of form, the part that is going to make sure that you're tuned to the right frequency is using your brain to think exactly what it is that you want. Okay, so this is the thing with manifestation. When you're doing affirmations, let's say, most people are they're just trying to think what they want in their brain, but it's your heart that generates the field. It boosts the signal, if you like. It's a bit like having Wi-Fi. You've got a computer that does all the calculations, and don't forget, if we're in a simulated universe, it's very likely that would have been created by a computer. But if the computer cannot connect to your internet, then the signal is going to be lost. You're putting it out there, you're trying to put it out into the universe, but it's not going to reach its destination. It's not going to match the frequency of what you're trying to attract. So therefore, that's why you have to create that feeling in your chest. You know, you have to create that excitement. You know, when you're excited about something and you get that kind of buzz in your chest, that is, it's been proven scientifically that your heart actually generates 300 times the amount of current that your brain does. So you need to match the two together. Now again, the bit that they will never talk about in The Secret is that's the esoterical part, okay? The positive thinking, the creating the vibration. But you need to couple that with practical action. You need to take action, but with the conviction that it's going to happen for you. It's like now, as I record these YouTube videos, when I look at my views at the moment, I'm getting 5 to 10 views, and it'd be so easy for me to give up and think, well, nobody's really watching it, or YouTube's not sort of putting my videos in front of the right people, etc., etc. But I know some people are watching these, and I get some nice comments as well, and that keeps me going. And I think if I just keep going and just keep recording it, the universe eventually is going to give in and think, oh, for goodness sake, just give him some views, because he's not stopping talking. He's doing these videos every 2 days. It is going to happen, but you need to take practical steps. It's like, say for example, you have a website business. You want to start a web design business. A lot of people avoid the bits that people don't want to do because it's easier. Okay, so they create a website and they have an email capture, and then they design a document for them to download as a freebie, and then try and indoctrinate them, and then hoping that they'll call them, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's closer to the sitting cross-legged hoping that a check's going to fall through the letterbox. Or you could just get the phone numbers. You can go to Google and you can search for companies in your local area, pick up the damn phone and start calling them and just saying, hey, my name's Phil, or whatever your name is. Just started a new business, trying to get a bit of traction, looking for maybe doing a bit of free work to get some testimonials, etc. You will get much better results and much quicker results than just trying to, think what you want and attract it into your life. Again, going back to the dating example, you can sit there trying to manifest it. Now, of course, you can think about the sort of person that you want to attract, how they look, maybe they're, do you want them to have a good sense of humor? Would you like them to be kind of financially independent? But you need to get out there also. You need to go into the right places so that you're sort of fishing in the right pond, if that makes sense. Health is another very common thing that people want to manifest, and actually this is one of the things I appreciate. Sometimes bad health can happen to you. It can just be completely bad luck, and it's nothing necessarily that you've done wrong or anything like that. Sometimes I'm afraid it's just bad luck. That's life. But then there's a lot of people that complain about their health, and then I see what they're eating, and they're not doing any exercise whatsoever. I go for a walk every morning, partly because I like to doing these videos in the park, which is very nice. But it's good exercise. It's not hard to go out for a walk for most people, right? Even if you can't go out for a walk or there's nowhere to go, you can do exercises at home. You don't need a gym. You can do sit-ups. You can do press-ups. You can do squats. You can sort of walk on the spot or jog or skip. Drinking water. Most people don't drink enough water. I find it such a chore, to be honest with you, drinking water. But I fill up this big flask of water every morning, and I make sure that by the day ends that I've drunk it all. And you should actually drink a lot more than that. I think isn't it 2 or 3 litres or something like that a day. I'm not a health expert, but there are simple steps that you can do that will improve your health. So it is about manifesting, is about taking control. If we're talking in the matrix terms, sometimes people always believe, and the way we're brought up actually is things happen to us and we just think, well, that's just the person that I am. They think the way that you are, that's your identity. But a lot of the time it's based on how you've been taught at school. It could be by parents, and not that they've intentionally given you bad advice, but they're giving you advice based on what they were told. Money doesn't grow on trees. You hear sayings like that, and they talk about rich people as in it's sort of them and us, and like they could never make their own money or come into fortune. Everybody can change their situation. Tony Robbins always talks about this, about, it's just changing your state. You can decide from this moment forward, I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to be more confident so I can attract the right people. And again, that comes back to sort of dating and things. It can be about confidence. Maybe if it is about maybe you wear something that makes you feel better, and it's that X factor. You're walking down the street and you kind of feel, you feel nice. Maybe you've had your hair cut or hair done or what have you. And then somehow that's the sort of things that raises your vibrations. It's not sitting there trying to necessarily like create this vibration and boost this vibration. It's doing things that puts you in the flow and creates that situation that is going to make things more likely to happen for you. It's just deciding. All you have to do is decide what it is you want and create a plan. It could be a short plan, maybe just the first step that something that you can do, something small that you can do that is just pointing you in the right direction to take you closer to that goal. And of course, it's about positive thinking, and it's about creating the right vibration and thinking about what it is that you want to attract in your life. But it's so much easier if you can feel some sort of progress, because you've decided, again, let's say with health, I'm just going to walk a mile a day. It could be just walking around the block or walking around the park. It could be that you want to drink more water. It could be that you want to cut out eating donuts or cutting out sugar's the worst thing, to be honest with you. It's like fizzy drinks. If you cut out fizzy drinks, holy crap. And I'm not talking about that diet shit either, all the zero, Coke Zero, whatever it is. All that stuff, they just replace it with stuff that's even worse than sugar, to be honest with you. Again, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not giving you nutritional advice or anything, but it's actually pretty obvious. You don't need to go to a nutritionist to work out what to do and what not to do to get better health. Maybe losing a bit of weight is something that could make you feel more confident. How you look. And it's an unfortunate thing, that people base things on how they look, but if you're talking about attraction, initially it's about that kind of physical attraction. So I hope that's useful to you. Please hit the like button if any of this resonates with you. And I hope I'm not being too mean or too tough, but I think in this kind of field of manifestation, esoterical stuff, The Secret and all that, they always talk about just thinking about stuff and manifesting it into your life, and not enough about taking practical actions. You want to combine the two, and then you will be unstoppable, and you will be amazed how quickly can turn around for you. And once you get that taste of that progress, that success, that puts you in an even better flow. And then it's just like a cycle feeding itself, and you'll get better and better, more confident, better things will happen to you. You literally just have to decide from this point forward, my life's going to be better from right now, and I'm going to take the steps required. And don't give up. That's the main thing, don't give up. Okay, so I hope that was useful. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment if anything resonated with you in particular. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.